I've had this idea from many days and finally I get to implement it. So basically, I'm a foodie and I'm obsessed with ordering food online. So much obsessed that I started worrying about my spendings on food. And here is what I thought would help me fix this issue. Obviously, I can't restrict myself from ordering food online because, food is life. So the only option left is to make sure that I spend efficiently on food ordering. So maybe I can automate the process of finding the best dish for me from the best rated hotel and also for the best price possible, including the offers offered by that hotel. Yeah, I sure can do that by writing a script in Python. So this script must do the following. It must automatically find all the available restaurants around me and show me the best restaurants to order from. And when I say best, I mean the restaurant must have a high discount value and also a high rating so that I know I spend on something worth it for a lesser price. And additionally, I can even mention categories I want to order. For example, Lebanese, biryani, North Indian, South Indian, etc. So that the best restaurants around me will get filtered according to these categories. And lastly, I should be able to do a search for the dishes. For example, if I want to order chicken biryani, my script should search for chicken biryani in all the restaurants available near me and show me the best restaurant which sell this particular dish for a lesser price and also with a better rating. So by doing this, I can finally start spending efficiently on food. So I'm going to write the script for Zomato, which is a very famous food delivery website in India, and I use this literally every day. So let's start writing our script, the foodie script. So this is Zomato's website and you can see that it displays all the restaurants available near me. So in order to get this info, I have two options. Option 1 is to use their API. Yes, Zomato does have an API and it has a restriction that you could only make 1000 calls per day. And also by using the API, it seems like you cannot get the menu of a hotel. So we are not going to use the API. We will go with option 2, which is web scraping. So basically we are going to scrape Zomato's website to get all the information we need. Initially, I must be logged into Zomato so that I can see the restaurants available for me and also the offers that are available for me. Instead of writing a login module in my script, I can simply use my cookies to send authorized requests to Zomato via my script. The easiest way to do it is by installing the Edit Cookies extension on Chrome and then log into Zomato account and then select my area, and then I can export these cookies through the extension which I installed, and now I'll paste these cookies in a file called cookies.json so that I can use these cookies with my script. The first step is to get the restaurant's information by scraping restaurants' names, their rating, their category, and also their offers. If they have any, of course. So I'll write the logic to this in scrape-restaurant.py. I'll start by importing the request module using which I can basically send requests to Zomato server, and I'll also import the beautiful soup module, which is basically a parser using which we can basically parse the HTML which we get as response from Zomato server. And then remember, we have a cookies.json file which has our cookies that are related to Zomato. So we need to actually get these cookies and we need to send these cookies in our request to the Zomato server so that we stay authenticated. So in order to do this, we'll write a function, let's say get cookies, and then we're going to just need the name of the cookie and its corresponding value. So I'll just write the logic to that. I'll just extract the name of each cookie from the cookies.json file and its corresponding value and store it in a dictionary. Now first off, we need to validate whether these cookies are actually authenticated, or in other words, are we able to make authenticated requests to the Zomato server with these cookies. So in order to do that, or in order to check if the cookies are valid or not, let me write a function, let's say connect Zomato, and then here we'll actually try to make a request to zomato.com along with the cookies that we have just extracted from cookies.json file, and we'll actually check if we are authenticated. So let me actually print out the response which we received from Zomato, and we can just check out what kind of response we're receiving. So let me run the script for the first time, and it says that you do not have permissions to visit this server, kind of that thing. So I'm guessing it's basically because Zomato is actually preventing bots from accessing its website. I'm guessing that it is doing this by actually checking the user agent of the HTTP message. So If you could see here in our script, we are actually not modifying the user agent. So by default, when we are sending requests from Python using the request module, the user agent is going to be something like requests. So the Zomato server knows that we are actually sending requests from a Python script. So I think that's why it blocked us. So let's actually go ahead and actually modify the headers in our script. So we'll, for example, put the header as let's say Firefox. So we are basically faking ourselves to be a Firefox user, and then I'll use these headers to send the request to Zomato. So this time let's hope that we actually are not getting restricted from accessing that web page or whatever. And there we go. It seems like we actually got some response. You could see that there is a lot of HTML printed on the terminal. It means that basically the Zomato server actually gave us a response without restricting us like it did before. So yep, it worked. Now the next step is to actually check if the cookies we submitted with our requests are actually valid or not. The simplest way to check if our cookies are valid is to check if there is a text logout in the response which we have received, because if there is a text logout in the text which we have received, it means that we are actually logged in, or in other words, our cookies are actually authorized. Alright, now let's go right into extracting each restaurant's information. The way to do it is analyze the HTML and get to know the structure of these HTML elements. Now I'll copy the HTML of one of the restaurant boxes and I'll just paste it in my brackets editor to actually analyze things, and you can see that there is a main div element with this class name, and every basic information about the restaurant, like the restaurant name, the rating of the restaurant, offer of the restaurant, are actually present inside this div class. So we'll actually write some code to extract details from this particular div class which has this particular class name, and we'll use Beautiful Soup, which is a HTML parser, to do this. First, I'll try to extract the restaurant name of all the restaurants, and to cross check if we are actually getting the restaurant names, let's actually print out all the information which we gathered. So there we go, it actually worked. It printed out all the restaurant names which are on the page that we just parsed with Beautiful Soup. And now we'll try to get the rating of the restaurants, and it works. And finally, let's try to get the restaurant IDs, and works as well. In the same way, I'll also extract the offer of the restaurant if there is any offer, and also I'll extract the category of the restaurant. And finally, to cross check if everything is working as it should, let's actually print out all the details of each restaurants one by one. And there we go, it actually worked. It actually printed the information about each restaurant, like its name, rating, category, etc. And it did it for all the restaurants on page 1. Now we just need to extend our script so that it actually goes to other pages as well, so like for example second page, third page, etc. and it does the same thing for all those pages as well. So it's actually simple. Get the URL of the next pages and just do the same thing that you did for this page to all the other pages as well. Now that we have all the restaurants, we will now sort these restaurants such that the restaurants with the best rating and the highest discount offer value will be at the top. We'll do this by actually calculating a score value for each and every restaurant. First, we'll take the restaurant rating and then we'll multiply that with 1.5, let's say, and then we'll take the discount offer value of a restaurant and we'll then multiply that percentage discount offer value with 2. And then we'll add these two values and we'll call the result as a restaurant score, and we will sort all the restaurants based on this score. So what it means that a restaurant with a high score is going to be on the top as compared to a restaurant with a relatively lower score. So in this way, we are basically sorting all these restaurants based on the rating they received and also the offer if they have any. So these are the results once we have calculated the score of each restaurant and once we have sorted all these restaurants based on the score calculated. So you can see the restaurants with the highest score are on the top, as compared to the restaurants with a lower score. So this is basically, I'm just printing the top 10 restaurants, but you can customize it the way you want. You can print the top 20, top 5, or whatever you like. Now I'll include another functionality to my script, which is basically searching for specific categories, and this is actually pretty easy because we already have the category of each restaurant, so we just need to match our input category which we want to search for with each category of each restaurant, and then we have to sort the restaurants based on these categories. And also I'll create a new script, the foodie.py, to handle all the command line options and arguments, and this new script will fire up my scraperestaurants.py, which will basically do the functionality which I have coded until now. And finally I can simply run a command like this by giving an argument called -- categories, and then followed by the categories which I want to search for, and then this will automatically search for all the categories which I want to search, and the results are shown. So now we have finally reached the end, and all that is left to do is add a dish scraping module that will search for the desired dishes in the restaurants available. So if you click on the order online button, we are taken to a URL which immediately redirects to another URL, and then you can see a loading animation that says loading menu. This means that the website is probably using Ajax to retrieve menu of the restaurant. So we can't simply send a request to the restaurant's page to get the menu. I've intercepted the Ajax request with Burp Suite, and it seems like it is sending a post request to this particular URL along with the restaurant ID whose menu is to be retrieved, and the CSRF token and another parameter as the post method parameters. The response to this request is JSON data that contains the restaurant's menu. I made a new script, scrapedishes.py, and then I just took each restaurant ID, as we do have info of every restaurant with us, and then I made a post request to the given URL. The response is, as we know, is going to be a JSON data, so I needed to write another script, JSON parser.py, which will parse this response JSON data and extract the info that we need. In this case, all we need is the dish name, its price, and its rating. This info is sent back to scrapedishes.py, and then if it matches with the dish I want to search for, then I had to calculate the score of the dish, similar to how I calculated the score of a restaurant. So basically I take the dish rating, multiply it with 1.5, and then I take the dish initial price and subtract the discount amount if there is any discount, and then I calculated the score based on the dish rating and this final price. As you might have already guessed, I then sort the dishes from different restaurants according to their calculated score. And then I linked scrapedishes.py with the foodie.py, which will handle command line inputs. And finally I searched for my favorite dish with this script. And it works. So that's how you solved your real-time issues with coding. And if you're interested to learn programming, then I just made a course for you. I made a course for absolute beginners to learn programming from scratch, and I'll leave the link to that playlist in the description below. So don't forget to check it out if in case you are actually interested or passionate enough to learn programming. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and if you have anything to say, feel free to use the comment section below, and also don't forget to leave a thumbs up below if you really liked this one, and if you did not subscribe yet, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. So once again, thanks for watching. Cheers.